It was really sad to see. It was just becoming decrepit. My brother did buy this home, and then my mother moved in, and she's like the glue, people like to say, so we would always gather where she was. My brother's girlfriend ended up getting very ill, and he had to move out to go take care of her in her house. And so we were all heartbroken that the hub where we have all these memories was just sort of sitting there. And so we started to have some discussions around what would it look like if I got a housing loan and maybe went in and did some renos, and then instead of paying rent, I would just pay the reno. When I went to the bank to ask for funding to sort of overhaul this beautiful place, I was getting turned down at my bank, and so I would try another one, and then I would try another one, and I was just really taken aback. It just became a really difficult, despairing situation, to the point where I told my contractors, just don't come in tomorrow. It doesn't matter how long you're with a bank, you really do have to fall within the parameters of that black and white. It has to be all satisfied on paper, and they all have policies that are really currently inflexible. My sister does work with housing, and they were talking about housing solutions, and they were bringing in outside organizations, and at one of these meetings was representatives from Meridian, and they were talking about a new Indigenous stream. When I first walked into Meridian and I had met Nadia, she was really kind, and she listened. It didn't feel like a stuffy bank environment. She was very relaxed, and she would lean in, so I felt like she cared about what I was saying. There was some back and forth about it. It wasn't completely easy, and she was very honest about the fact that there was discussions over the Indigenous stream and that they were a full year away from being able to implement it. But we were still willing to try different avenues. Will this work? Will that work? I mean, traditionally what they use is co-signers, and so we started to talk about that, and that ultimately is what worked.
Thank you so much.
We really overhauled this whole place. We really renovated the whole thing. Ripped out those old carpets and put new flooring in, and wherever there was that 1970s paneling, I ripped it down, and so we put up drywall. At one point, I took down paneling, and there was paneling behind the paneling, if you can believe that. New windows, new doors. We even put windows where there weren't windows. Let's just say you could stand at one end and look at the other end as if it were a rib cage. That's basically what we did. It's been really great being here for my inner peace. And so not just having like a roof over my head, but it's good in a holistic sense, like mentally and emotionally and physically and spiritually. And I'm able to be really creative here. Eventually, I hope, that we could have all gathers here. I'd like to get a huge long table, and we could do the gathers here once again. To be treated like a human being really mattered. That I know and understood that it was people and policy, and that the other places were policy driven only. This is like a real huge move socially. Like, they're the front runners for something so critical, that they're understanding the history about Indigenous peoples, and that they're talking about an Indigenous stream. No one else was doing that. If I hadn't come across Meridian, it's really difficult to say where I would be in terms of having a home. I know for sure I would have kept going, but Meridian for sure saved the day. Yeah.